I think our big problem is that sometimes it's so dangerous, if you got a path, it's difficult to stick out from that path, to follow that gut feeling. And that's really what I have learned, especially after getting Marcus. It's actually pretty late in my career that I learned that if I just follow my gut feeling, it actually create magic. That's actually where I'm the best version of myself. It's when I dare to listen to myself and to my body and to my mind to where I want to go.
Hello, Yogi Triathlete community. Welcome to the YTP. I'm Jess, your host, and along with my love, BJ, we are on a mission to create a better world. With an intent to wake up and shake up the world of endurance sports, we are living, teaching, and preaching the skills of being a deliberate creator in your life. Dropping the stories that no longer serve you, leaving the past where it belongs in the past, and rising up in each moment to realize that you already are your best self. So, what is all the noise about? We believe that we are here to experience joy and that we have the right to live the life of our dreams. And it starts and ends with our response to life, because that is what's dictating our reality. We have a say, you guys. We have a say in our happiness. As our guest today may agree, we can always choose to keep smiling. BJ and I are incredibly honored to be sharing the mic today with Michelle Vesterby, professional triathlete, mom, sister, wife, and teacher to us all. Her light calls out the light in others, and her zest for life is contagious. It's that big smile across her face that I believe gives her the competitive edge, and the feeling that is behind it will be the very thing that gets her to the top of the podium in Kona. Michelle has 3 top 10 finishes on the Big Island and multiple Ironman wins under her belt. If you've ever listened to an interview with Michelle, then you know how dear she holds triathlon to her heart and the excitement in which she infuses her training and racing. With uncertainty in the air for the 2020 race season and lots of letting go happening, BJ and I thought what better person to pierce the complacency of quarantine than this optimistic champion. Michelle, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. What an intro. This can only be good, huh?
It can only be good. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, so let's just talk about the big birthday bash that happened yesterday. Mr.
Yeah, boom.
Marcus turned 1 years old. How was that as a mom to see a year already go by?
Yeah, I can't believe it. I was told before, it goes so fast when you get kid, and I've been like blah blah blah, like every non-parent, But this year, wow, it's amazing how fast it went. I can still remember my big belly just a year ago. The excitement about getting to the hospital and everything. So, you just got all the feelings there yesterday. It was a big thing, not for Marcus because he didn't really care. He just wanted the paper to play with. But but for me, it was emotional to experience it all one more time in a way. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that cake. I saw a picture of the cake. That was insane.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
didn't
good?
bake that. I didn't bake it.
No, you didn't bake that. I did some research. You didn't bake that.
It's so funny that I have so many faithful followers out there that truly believed in me. That I made that cake, but I have to admit, I cannot even bake cook my own dinner, without burning it. So that cake was way over my reach. It was delicious though. Yeah.
And Marcus is named after your brother Mark,
Yeah.
which is so beautiful. And you've talked about Mark as somebody who you turn to in times when you're racing or you're training and things get tough. And
Yeah.
he serves as your motivation. And I'm assuming that Marcus is just an add on to that as well. But when you think about Mark out there while you're training and racing, what is a memory of him that comes into your mind that helps you in those times where it feels dark?
It's actually his laugh. He couldn't speak, but his laugh, the voices coming out of his mouth was just like could fill a whole room with joy and happiness and create a smile on my face, because he wasn't capable of swimming, biking, or running and talking. So yeah, in that way, everyone who talks about and had met Mark during their life, during his life, they would all say that he was just one happy boy. So it's amazing. And also now sitting here home can't do much, it's just fills me up, with joy thinking about the opportunities that we actually still have. We are actually like, we can create our own happiness at this moment. So
You came into our, I mean, you've been on our list for a while now. We've wanted to have you on the show. But as we were moving into this, quarantine phase, and we were seeing, some of our own athletes falling away and letting the momentum drop, and really being affected by circumstances that are outside of us. And we do have a huge say in our happiness factor in life, and it has everything to do with how we respond to life. And when the very little I know about your brother Mark, you could look at his life from the outside and say, well, he can't swim, he can't bike, he can't do all of these things. But that didn't have an impact on his ability to choose his happiness in a moment and to feel joy.
exactly. And that's what I really take with me. But when I'm racing and when I'm training, that feeling, because we all have ups and downs. And despite my keep smiling motto, I have also bad days, and in this quarantine, I have even more bad days because it's hard to see the end of this, when is the next goal? What is going to happen? And that's when I really, really remind myself of how privileged I actually am to do what I love to do and still be able to do what I love to do. And with Mark, he didn't know what he couldn't do. So he was like focusing on the things that he could, which was bringing a smile on everyone's faces, He probably even wasn't aware of that he had that ability. My English is shit today. Do you understand anything of what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. Sometimes I get that feeling of I'm saying something, or sometimes it's easier in the morning. In the evening, it's way terrible. But I'm happy that you understand what
I
I'm
know
saying.
we were saying like you're winding down your day and we're just winding
Drinking
ours
coffee.
up,
Yeah.
drinking our coffee, getting things
Exactly.
going.
Exactly.
Um, I was reading your last two blog posts that you put out. In one of them, you encourage us all to, to pursue the best version of ourselves right now. And I totally agree with that. I don't think that there's ever been a time where it could be more valuable in our life to really show up as our best version. And what does that mean to you? What is like the best version? How does somebody start to find what the best version of themselves is?
Yeah, but waking up in the morning, giving yourself a smile to the mirror, a small, simple thing that just, create the right mindset for the rest of the day. Because I really found myself in this quarantine. I really have to find out what makes me happy, what I'm capable of doing. It's just like the small things because Klaus has been home, Marcus has been home, we've been in the same house for so long. Normally, I travel so much. So I really have to find the joy in the small things every day. If it's like now I'm lucky that I actually have a swim spa in my backyard. So just it's not the pleasure of me swimming. It's actually the pleasure of seeing Marcus swim afterward that gives me the energy, his smile and his laugh that fills me up. So like creating the small things, I think everyone wished that we could just go back to normal. But now this is our new normal, right? We don't know when it will end and we don't know if it will ever be normal again. So we just have to make every day count. And I think the most important lesson I have been giving myself these days is not to think about what the future will bring, but just be present right now, because that creates a good day for me, and that's what it's all about. It's just making every day a good day. And every day cannot be a good day 100% of the time, but then just, there's always something to smile about. There's always something that we can find. If it's like eating a piece of cake that day that creates happiness, that's what you have to do then, We all talking about these extra kilos in the corona crisis. Maybe it's just like what has to be done, to, yeah.
we have these expectations that it's supposed to go a certain way, and our mind is constantly seeking, like, well, we know Kona will be in October, so at least we know then that this
Yeah.
race is going to happen, but we don't even know that. And
Mhm.
so that's where the frustration rises. That's what we've been seeing. And then that sparks exactly what you're talking about, finding out what you love. Because I think when you remove these races, especially Kona, from people's schedules, they're like, what now? Who am I?
Yeah. Yeah,
What am I
exactly.
supposed to be doing? Should I even be
Yeah.
training? Should I go for a run today? Or maybe I'll just stay in bed and eat cake. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
questioning their identity. Do you have um do you have moments where you are like, not how long is this going to last, but it's so important for me to keep momentum moving forward, because I know when that day comes, whatever that day is, I want to be ready to rock it. Do you have this this momentum already instilled going right now?
Yeah, for sure. And it's been going up and down, because one moment you believe truly that Kona will be in October and you are so dedicated and motivated to get there. And then the next day it's just like, okay, I don't think Kona will happen. What now? And that's just where I really try to stay focused on the day, just to get the job done some days, and other days it just go by itself. I In the beginning of this quarantine, I was like, yes, man, I'm doing extra training, everything is rolling. It's hard for the rest of the world, but for me, I can do this. And then I also had that bump, it's like, okay, I have to pull myself up again, to stay focused. And that was where I was like, okay, I shouldn't think about Kona, because I think as a professional athlete, you always have that next goal that you're aiming for, and that's what keeps me going every single day. And now that goal is not there. We don't know when the next race will happen, so I have to think about other things that, yeah, makes me happy and keeps me going. And it's been difficult. Wow, some days it's really, really hard to find that inner motivation. But that's where I'm lucky that I have Mark and Marcus, to keep me going. And also, like I promised Marcus, I was like reflecting. It's 1 year since I got him. I still done 3 Ironman the last year, so I actually been doing quite a lot. I lost 25 kilos after the pregnancy. So I've been having a big year and a great year, and I just want to continue feeling great about what I'm doing. So it doesn't matter if Kona is not going to happen. I still wish I'm already qualified. So in that way, I have peace of mind. But yeah, it's not. I have to find a joy in what I'm doing every single day, in the process and not the goal.
I think it's important for people to really hear what you're saying here, is that you still have to put the effort forth to say, okay, I can focus on what I'm grateful for, or I can focus on what's wrong with the situation. Like, you're not immune to the highs and lows of life. You're just choosing, to
Mm.
look at what you're grateful for and to look at what makes you happy. And I think that's what makes you, no different than anybody else. It's just, we've got this, especially here in the United States, we have this programming of always looking at how far we have to go, as opposed to how far we've come, all of the
Mm.
things we've accomplished, all of the things that we can be happy and grateful for in a moment in our life. And we tend to fall into the negative. So there are a lot of athletes who have dropped the momentum. If there's no race, then why train at all? And you talk about that inner motivation, as opposed to the outer motivation. So to somebody who has dropped the momentum and is kind of, you know, hanging out in those low level feelings, what would you say to them for words of encouragement to get them to start getting that motor revved up again?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's really hard when you are in the middle of the ocean. What is it called? In the middle of the bad weather. What is it called when
Yeah.
you like standing in the middle? Is difficult to see how to get out of this, right? It's difficult to see the sunshine. And I've been there, I've been there when everything was just looking like, how do I overcome this? How do I get back to being that best version of myself? But I think it's just, again, you don't regret a training you did. You know, that's the first thing. So just to get out there, get started, maybe find some small like virtual races that you can do. I've been doing that. It's actually been pretty fun. You know, I did this big run in Denmark where I think it was like 14,000 Danish people like running different places, and we were all told to wear red and white. So when you met someone out running there, red and white, you can say hi and you could smile, and it was actually pretty motivating because 40,000, that's a lot in Denmark. So you definitely met someone that was out running for the same cause. So in that way, you know, it's just the small things that like can keep you motivated. Maybe you have a kid that can bike next to you while running, you know, and you know, getting out of the house is just one thing. And if I know that most of the places now around the world is open now, so I think that that helps definitely. Like Italy, France, over here in Europe, Europe, Europe. My English is so good. They definitely like starting to be able to get outside, and I think that's one thing. You know, get some air, get some fresh air, some sunshine. Hopefully, you know, finally we have a bit of sunshine in Denmark. So it's just about getting outside.
You know, it's never complicated. I think our pathway to happiness, it's not complicated. It's go
Mm.
outside and look at the sun, and even if there's clouds, to remind yourself that the sun is still shining. The sun
Yeah,
never stops shining. There might be clouds in the way, but that doesn't turn its light out. You know,
exactly.
it's still shining on you, and it's very simple, but you know, it's a choice. Like we have to in the times where we feel like we're, you know, held down, like you said, like in the middle of the storm,
Mm.
that we have to remember that the storm is going to pass. And you know, it's this moment right now that we're still getting a breath. And you know, there's so many things that we can be grateful for in any given circumstance. And I always think about just like I get to breathe, like, and if I get to breathe, that
Mm.
means I get to live, and if I get to live, then I don't want to waste it.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you decide yourself what you want to do with that.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So
And
doing
exactly what you say, you know, like standing there in the middle, everything could just seem like you don't know, you don't have the control, but you actually have the control. And that's how privileged we are. We actually can choose ourselves, you know, no one choose for us. Maybe, yeah, if you're under 18, someone will guide you, but for as adults, you know, we actually able to do what we love to do, and we can create our own happiness.
Yeah, and I think this time is a creative time. I mean, it's
Yeah,
asking us to be creative. The virtual races,
yeah.
the 4x4 by 48, all these like races and events that you can just do on your own, because we're not victims. We're not succumbing to the circumstances. Like it doesn't dictate what we can do. And this is where I get really like I want to boost people up. Like you have the
Yeah,
option. You have this choice. You
yeah.
can choose to go outside. You can choose to simply lace up your shoes and step on the other side of the door and start walking or running. That's a choice. That's a choice.
Mm,
If you can recognize that, then you start to gain back that power that you can choose anything. Like the world is really full of opportunity right now. It really is. It's not,
mm,
it may seem physically and through the eyes that we're on lockdown or some sort of stage of lockdown, but to me, I just see tons of opportunity. I see you're telling me what I can't do. So now I'm looking for what I can do. You've already helped
exactly.
me
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
you've limited my my
My right.
focuses. I can just focus on
Exactly.
what I can do. All
Exactly.
right, I want to switch gears just a little bit here, because you used to be an ITU athlete, didn't you? You raced on ITU.
Yeah, I did. But should we talk about that? That was a bad time in my career. That was way before the keep smiling motto. But okay, what do you want to ask?
Well, maybe that brought you to see. So maybe that bad time brought you to the keep smiling motto. What was so bad about it? What was your struggle during that time?
I just think it was never me. It was not my choice to race ITU. And because it wasn't my choice, it wasn't fun. You know, we're back to the choices that we make that create us. And you know, I came from a swimming background, so when I started triathlon, it was natural that I should do ITU racing. And the National Federation was like, it was close to Olympic 2012. So it was an opportunity for me to be not be one of the main figures because we already had two strong girls, but I could be the reserve. And like being the reserve, it was like, that's not fun for me, you know. That wasn't me. I was doing it for someone else than myself. So actually, every ITU race I did, something went wrong, you know. My chain broke, my seat post fall down, my handlebar, you know, got loose. Everything just went wrong, you know. And now reflecting on that time, you know, it's just like I'm shaking my head because I'm so lucky and grateful that I actually met Klaus, who got me into the lead of also just like finding my own path and where I wanted to go, and was just like, Michelle, just do an Ironman, see if it's something that you liked. And I loved it, you know. So I have a lot of crying faces, pictures from when I did ITU races, but I promise you can't find them after I switched to Ironman and became an endurance athlete. I also think the ITU races is like a stressful, is some kind of a different athlete that you are, you know. You have to focus on what the rest are doing, you know, you have to be in that pack to be a part of the race. And with Ironman, you know, I'm actually able to create the race, and I like to do that. That I'm the master of my own success and on my race. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, gosh, as you were explaining that, I think what you lived and what you're sharing with us is something that we talk about. It's like when you're not in alignment with what you love. Like you didn't love it. You weren't in
No.
alignment. Like you are not somebody that should be in the reserves.
No.
You are not somebody who can stand in the shadows. That's not why you are on this earth. You came here to stand in the light. You came here to be, on top of the mountain and being the spokesperson for doing what you love in this life. And I think this is a great message to people that when things are really hard like that, like the seat post and the chain and the this and that perhaps it's not the right thing.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's not what you're supposed to be doing. But with that said, I don't believe that anything is a waste.
No,
So, is
no,
there
for sure not.
anything from your ITU days that you can look back on that has positively influenced, your Ironman career?
I'm definitely here today, and that's because of the ITU. You know, if I started out like doing Ironman, I would never have been here. I would have stopped after I did my education. I'm 100% sure about that. So it definitely created something in me, you know, because I loved the triathlon community at that point. You know, I was training a lot with the local triathlon club. I got something really valuable out of that. And again, I mentioned Klaus, that was also where I met him, you know. So the training was our thing we did together, you know. He was so like this young guy, you know, seen a lot of girls, was busy with the discotheques and the bar life and everything. But when we were training, when we were on the bike, it was him and me, you know. And I actually loved that time, you know. Also just the drive to the swimming pool, you know, was that was my time with him. And I really, it was so important for me at that point actually to do that. That was actually not the question at all. I got out to another track, but anyway, I can definitely see my ITU time to something that I grown from, you know. And I did find my inner strength by being out there when where the ground was wobbling and I couldn't control what was happening. And I think the first time I was called the Smiling Dane, that was in my Ironman debut. So in that way, it's just like I came from something that wasn't me to finding my path, you know. And you don't find your path if you don't try something that's definitely not the right one, you know. We have to stick our head to bump our head and, you know.
Yeah, well, we need the contrast. We need the contrast. You can't have light without the
Exactly.
dark. You can't.
That was the word I wanted.
Yeah, contrast. You got to have it. You got to
Yeah.
and you got to embrace it,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
any resistance, it's gonna you got to work that stuff out. It's gonna continually just keep hammering you and hammering you. But when you see that contrast as when you find out what you don't want, you immediately find out what you do want. Those experiences where you were like disgruntled or whatever, and it's not working for
Yeah.
you, you immediately knew this was not for you. And so what are the possibilities? What is opening? And Klaus was there to share with you, go Ironman,
Yeah.
like encourage you, Ironman, give it a try. Who cares?
I think our big problem is that sometimes it's so dangerous, if you got a path, it's difficult to stay out from that path, to follow that gut feeling. And that's really what I have learned, especially after getting Marcus. It's actually pretty late in my career that I learned that if I just follow my gut feeling, it actually create magic. That's actually where I'm the best version of myself. It's when I dare to listen to myself and to my body and to my mind, to where I want to go. You have to compromise with the people close to you. I have to have the involvement of Klaus, and with my family, my mom and dad, they are a really big role in all this as well. But when I do what I believe, it's the it, it's good.
When we follow our gut, that's our internal unique guidance, right? And it's not going to be for everyone else. And I know that you've faced some criticism. Actually, we were listening to a podcast with you when you were describing criticism as like you've got punched in the face. You've been punched in the face by people through their words, through their judgments about you. And we have to be willing, when we live from our gut and we do what we love, it asks us to do things that are scary, that don't always feel good, like putting ourselves in the face of criticism. How do you navigate, like, how do you keep going when someone's saying you shouldn't have been a mom? Like, you've had some crazy things been said to you. How do you keep going? How do you keep smiling?
Yeah, it's been hard when it's something like so close to you, like my baby. When people tell me that I shouldn't be a mom, I should just focus on my career, being a triathlete. Luckily, I have some good guide stars out there like Kessler and Rini, that's all been very, very good moms and athletes at the same time. And that also create, a, a trust in myself that I'm doing the right thing, because I have such a happy boy, He's so much in balance, and that's also just given me the courage that what we're doing is the right thing, and it's the right thing for us. I always try to tell people that what I did is probably not what you should do, but it's been the right path for me. And why keep on training? People's like, why don't you just relax? Why do you want to do an Ironman 3 months after giving birth? And I was like, because I could. That was actually the right decision for me. And I have parents that's been living just around the corner, so it's been easy for them to babysit and be around us in the whole first period of Marcus' life, and they have such a strong relationship. And I know they will not be here forever. They're plus 70 now, so in that way, giving them that gift of being close to Marcus, being a part of his life that much. I really seen my parents grow as well. It's like they're new people in this. So I've just been giving and adding energy to our family that's already a smiling and a happy family before, but now it's just like we have something special, we have something together. And they've been a part of my triathlon career always, but now it's more a project for them as well, which is so great and which really, really motivate me. So back to all the negative comments, some of them you of course listen to, but then you just try to kick them out on the right, because you know what's best for you. And I sometimes have been sitting at night drinking a glass of red wine or water, talking to Klaus about the comments, because it's really important to listen to the people close to you, the people that want you the best. And that's I think that's been my most important lesson in this. Listen to the people close to you, and that then it's easier to navigate in the bad comments. And when I put myself out there on the internet, on the big social media, I also know that there will always be haters that thinks that I'm too optimistic, that I should, you know, everyone just knows better, right? And that's where you again have to navigate your own road. And yeah.
You can't dim your light. What the community out there is doing is trying to bring you down to them, to make them feel more comfortable,
Yeah.
is really what it is. And to see you shine so bright and so high and so joyous, in a way, people want that. They just don't know how to get there. And so they internalize and fall back onto what's comfortable for them. And that's just to be status quo. And as
Yeah.
long as they're comfortable, like they're in that square box, that comfortable, like they don't have to dip their toes out, everything's okay. And
Yeah.
so with someone like you, someone like us, we actually like can scare people a little bit. It actually like frightens them, and they pull back because they don't know how to work with that. They can't make that alignment with what we're doing, with how we believe and how we can think, right? How
Mm.
can we be so optimistic without seeing the proof? Like, how do you know that you're an amazing athlete? Not you, but how does someone look at to be an amazing athlete if they haven't seen the results yet, right? So it's that
Mm.
belief.
Yeah.
You got to have that belief. So I love that you listen to the gut. Like the gut is, it's so important. My question is relative to training in that way, and how, you get a plan and it's supposed to be like, 60-minute run and you're supposed to have some intensity in there. Do you listen to your gut on that day and are like, yeah, that's not working today. I'm going to do something else.
In the beginning, I always followed the program like 110%. I also did that in the beginning of my Ironman career, followed it 110%. I was coached by Luc van Lierde for some years, former Ironman Hawaii champ, if someone don't know. You know, I really truly believed in everything he said that I should do. And I also got amazing results. I finished fourth and sixth in Kona under his guidance. But the last years, it's been even more important for me, and especially now after being a mom, to listen to that gut feeling, because I don't get the same amount of sleep and rest as I got before. So in that way, I also sometimes have to decrease the amount of intensity in my workout. And my coach is not there with me all the time, so he's actually never there. We live far away from each other. So in that way, it's important that I can listen to myself and I know my own body. So this morning I was like I had to do 20 repeats and I only did 10 because afterwards I was feeling like my technique and my flow wasn't there. So there was no reason to continue. That would just break it up. But it's been so difficult for me to learn to not stick to the program. I love the structure. I love all the green in Training Peaks. So I know that I did everything perfectly. But now I also know that that's not what brings me to a top position in Kona this time. It's a different Michelle, and therefore a different way of approaching the goal.
Has Marcus helped you in getting better at letting go?
Oh yeah, he's the baby boss now here in the house. Before it was Michelle who was the boss, not anymore. So for sure, it's on his agenda, and it's difficult sometimes because now he's also getting aware to get out of the house, to get out on a 4-hour bike ride. And if I starting the ride feeling guilty, there's no reason for me to go out. Then I should just turn around because my head will not be in the training anyway. So right now it's really that quality over quantity. I always been a big fan of 200 k's riding. I love the long days on the bike and in the training shoes. But now I know that that's not necessarily what's the best for me, because it's also important for me to be home with my family, to be around Marcus. So again, some of my runs, I also do them with the baby jogger, because then I feel like we're together. I know the quality in that training maybe not will be the same, but it also then fills up my mental account as well. And I know that has to be up and around 100 all the time before I can create good results.
At the beginning of your career, you would go biking, like that was your time with Klaus. And now that baby boss is in the picture, how are you guys? And I think that this is a good question because we've got a lot of parents that love triathlon, that love long distance sports, and they're trying to figure out the balance. And with the baby boss, literally being the most important thing, because he needs you right now. He needs you for food. He needs you for, to keeping him safe and putting him to bed and, making his food. How are you and Klaus finding that time together? How are you finding that balance?
Luckily, I have a kid that sleeps really well, so I put him to bed around 7, and then we have a couple of hours in the night. But also, again, I make sure that Klaus and I have the time together when we just like so tomorrow morning, as an example, the daycare is closed here, so my parents will come in the morning and take care of Marcus, and Klaus and I will go on a bike ride together. So in that way, we get some quality time, and Marcus gets some quality time with his grandparents as well. So it's a win-win situation for both of us. So in that way, we find the balance. But also, when I'm sitting at the home trainer and Marcus and Klaus is upstairs, they just come down, they chat for a bit, then you just feel like they're a part of the process as well, that I don't feel like I'm far away. I'm just downstairs. So if Marcus asks for his mom, she's just there. So I feel like I'm in a part of the family. And then if I need a pee break, I go upstairs and I can say hi as well, and then go down in my basement again and do my job. So Marcus is starting to learn that he sometimes he just want to go down to the basement because he knows mom is down there working. Yeah, I really can't wait to hear him starting talking, to figure out what's going on in his mind. How crazy do he think that I am?
He's just going to continue to reflect your
Yeah,
joy. It sounds like he's a very happy boy, and he's reflecting your joy. Did you grow up in a house like that? Or were your parents joyful? Were they? Is that where you get this inner strength from?
for sure. Definitely, 100%. My mom is probably the most happy person I ever know. I sometimes I'm like, how can you be so happy? I wish I was a little bit more like you. And trust me, if you ask Klaus, I'm not always happy. I'm also like my dad, which can be a grumpy old man. I'm a grumpy old lady sometimes. But my mom, she's always happy and positive, and also again a truly inspirational for me because she had a multi-handicapped kid. It must have
Mm.
been so hard, taking care of him and still trying to like be a mom for me, as the daughter too. But she managed it. And every year or every day I get older, I also get way more respect for what my mom actually did and what she's been through. I didn't see that, and I didn't appreciate it that much before I become a mom my own. But oh, that those feeling that she must have had, it's amazing. She's definitely my biggest motivation out there. I want to be like my mom.
The joy and the gut feeling, and Marcus and Klaus and all of this momentum that you have right now is has always been aiming for Kona, right? Kona is
Yeah.
like, how hot is this fire burning to be on that podium in Kona?
Oh, I'm not getting away from that podium. I'm just want to performing Kona as the best version of me now. That's actually my next step. I still feel that I can improve. I might be one of the old ladies in the field at the moment, but I still like feel that I have way more in me. I'm not done. I still feel that I can improve. And I actually think the biggest lesson that I learned is that before before Marcus, before being a mom, I had all the time in the world to focus on Michelle and what Michelle wanted. So I also had lots of waste time. Now I've been optimizing on the small things that I didn't do before. I've been talking a lot about cake, and I also eat cake, but I also like with the diet thing, just trying to tune my body 110%, so I can stand in that start line in Kona and say, hey, I did everything that I could do. And I just love the island. I love the atmosphere. I love the smell, the excitement, the joy, meeting all the other athletes at the same place, the sponsor, the media, all the attention. I love all about it. Maybe the last part most, all the attention, no, I really like it. It just fires me up from the inside. That's what I love about the sport. We are so many athletes over there in Kona, just like wanted to be the best version of themselves. So yeah, I burn. You can hear it now. I said I don't care about the podium. No, I burn to beat my fourth place over there, my best result, to be the best version of me. So yeah, let's cross our finger that it will happen in October. And if not, then a little bit later, or else I have to get a baby and come back again, and I don't have time. I don't have time to waste. If I was just 25, I would have had all the time in the world, but I don't have time to this. So I would love Trump to tell me if I can come to Hawaii in October or not, because else I would get to plan B, get a baby, and be ready for January instead.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. So I know we've got just a little bit, couple more minutes left. I want to respect your time. You're doing what I believe we all have the right to do, which is to live the life that we love. And a lot of people don't know what they love. So how do they start to find what they love?
Oh, yeah. I actually think it's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself, to find out what you actually love. And I think, again, I had my ITU days. I had the time where I played handball. I had my studies. You actually tried a lot of stuff to get where you are. And again, some people never find it, but then they have to create it themselves. They have to create their own story and what makes them happy. There must be some things they watch at the television, that makes them smile, like, I need more of this. Or again, I just like surround yourself with people that gives you the energy and the joy. And I also believe that then you will find the things that can inspire you, because I would never have seen triathlon if it wasn't because of this hot guy I wanted to hook up with, Then I would never have got my eyes for this sport. So sometimes it's also lucky punches that you find out what you actually love. So as long as you surround yourself with people that gives you energy and makes you happy, and then just copy them, find out, and then you're allowed to steal. You're allowed to steal from social media of what people show their joy in, and yeah, to find your own way. But again, we're back to the gut feeling, right? We're back to what truly deeply matters to you. And sometimes don't care about what other people thinks. That's also what I with Marcus. Why didn't I get a baby before? I was also again thinking about too much what other people would think about me. I didn't trust in myself that, hey, this is okay. This is what I want. What do you want?
I think that's a great question to leave it on. What do you want? What do you want? And
Exactly.
focus on and find that and focus on what you want, because that will expand in your life. And then we have more joyful people on this earth. And isn't that what we need?
That's what we need, for sure, because again, if you are American or you are German or wherever you are in the world, we always have the option. We are pretty privileged, all of us, to create what we want. So it's just about finding out what you want with your life and then make it happen. Don't sit when you're 85 and look back and think, why didn't I do that? That's my biggest fear, to regret something. But again, you can't regret something you didn't do, So come on, can you say that? Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's perfect. Perfect English.
Perfect English. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And we can't wait to share you with our community. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I have to hurry, but food. I talked to Argon, who's in Canada, and then
Baby boss.
Baby boss. He's so commanding. Come on.
Taking all that attention.
Exactly. What's wrong?